Welcome to the Bird Gang Nation Sports Media Show, repping the greatest team of all time. Let's go! Bird Gang 31, he be the host with the most. We going deep, burning teams. They ain't nothing but toast. Listen, your rest there. Sirianni put me in coach, running like Miles Sanders till I bump my head on the post. Touchdown! Yeah, that's coming. Devontae's crazy route running. Jalen hurting them, throwing lasers to Rager, young gunning. Come on! On the D side, we ride, sack him with Fletcher, lay him out on the stretcher. No one can protect you. Watch Darius slay him, shutting down your routes. Come on! In my green John, eating Philly cheesesteaks. Put up your cups, wings up, if you can relate. Tailgating at the link like Answer Stride to the Bird Gang Nation that's worldwide. On Sundays, catch the pre and post game. Mondays is Birds on Broad Street with Philly Notion and Cool Cat, the man in motion. And Wednesdays, the midweek special got you open with JC from Eagles Talk, hitting like B-Dog, baby.
Welcome to another episode of Bird Gang Nation Sports Talk. I'm your host, Bird Gang 31. Today, Nation, we got a very special guest in the house. It's my boy, Lindy Zone in the building, man. How you doing today, my guy?
Oh, another Tuesday, but in this case, Eagles off season is officially here, unfortunately to some, but we got a lot of questions that need answering, no doubt. And we're going to for sure try and answer as many of those as we possibly can.
Oh, yeah, we definitely got to get into it, man. It's crazy, man. The season's over, man. See, like it went by so fast. So fast. Yeah. But now we're here in the off season. Our team, got some new news in today. I guess we're saying that Brooks could possibly be retiring.
Yeah, there's a rumor floating around about a possible Brandon Brooks retirement, and I'm not, I can't say that I'm really surprised by it if I'm honest here. This is a big offensive lineman playing that right guard spot for as many years as he did for Philly, and going through two Achilles tears and having some some mental issues here and there, and him coming back from that, it was still an awesome story. But at the end of the day, he just had terrible luck, and we've seen it between 2019 and 2020 in these aging veterans, and well, we're gonna see how easy or hard of a decision it is to move on from some of these guys how he's okay with doing it 2 years in a row after us worrying about it all that time. And can't be holding on to these old guys, man. Let the young guys play. And I think we have plenty of youth on the in the trenches, to kind of say goodbye, unfortunately. So I mean, we'll see. It's still up in the air from what I know.
It's like he's the best right guard in football when he plays, but the last 3 years he hasn't played at all. Really, it's not even worth it at this point anymore. We pay him like $20 million a year. Like that's too much money to be playing a guy that play like 1 or 2 games a season. Like, I'm hoping he does retire for the simple point it saves us cap money for next year. You know what I'm saying? That retirement saves us money. If not, we're gonna have to try to trade him and see who wants to take on that kind of dead money. And that's a big lump sum of dead money to take on. So I don't see very many teams trying to do that when you're not on the field consistently.
I think it's at least $13 to $14 million against the cap. I mean, that's a pretty big number.
Yeah. So I know it sucks. He kept getting hurt. I know the whole mental thing kind of sucks too, but I think he should just go ahead and retire. You know what I'm saying? Life after football is not the end of the world. And he did his thing while he was here, but you don't want to be like JPP, keep coming back and not playing good, keep coming back and not playing good, to the point where, no one really even likes you anymore. You're like, come on now, just give it up already. you know?
I was gonna say you beat me to it. I mean, and he's not exactly really that old either when we're talking 32, but it's the extent and the type of injuries that he sustained. I mean, sure, not everybody can be Jason Peters where he conditions himself well enough at the size that he is for the left tackle spot, but you know, Jason Peters did it a little. He went a little too overboard with that, with the definition of longevity. And unfortunately for Brooks, the injuries that he has gone through don't help in that regard, especially anything with the knees or feet. And that's everything to an offensive lineman to be able to anchor down and protect the quarterback. So it's unfortunate if it happens, but we thank him for the services that he's given to us ever since we acquired him.
Yeah, facts, man, facts. We had some more news today. You said something about the practice squad, but some of them players. Who do we bring back today?
Yeah, so we got some reserve futures contracts that that were made upon the roster. 11 players. Out of the 11, a couple that are most notable to me is Craig James. He didn't. he seemed to have disappeared. I mean, we were talking about him as one of the special teams aces in combination for the amount of time that Marcus Epps was getting some special team snaps, and he was looking good, as well as a few other guys. And Craig James was supposed to be one of those specialists, and he seemed to have disappeared. And I know it was part and due to injury, but he ended up getting a reserve futures contract. Noah Togiai, the tight end, one of the tight ends that we were hoping we would not get rid of, he ended up getting a contract. And I know LSU favorite that did get a reserve futures, Jacoby Stevens. So nice. He's going to maintain a spot on this roster. And basically the reserve futures, it describes the players that were not on the active roster for the last game, I think either in the regular season or the entirety of the season for the team. So in that case, that's who we got to go with. In other regards to the list, from what I've seen, the majority of these players are on defense. So is that going to swindle some things a little bit in what we go for in terms of free agency and draft? I don't think so, because we don't exactly know what these guys are capable of, since they've been stuck on the practice squad or inactive, so on and so forth. But in terms of competition throughout camp and whatnot, we got the bodies to put out there and compete amongst each other.
I really want Stevens to show up next year. I was really high on him this year. I was hoping that sometime throughout the season they're going to pull him up in that practice squad. He's going to be on that regular active roster and be making some plays for us this year. But obviously that didn't happen. So hopefully he takes this offseason seriously to get back next year and do some big things for us.
And it's just a testament to what he was able to do, especially in the transition from the safety to the linebacker spot. And the coaching staff did not believe that he was cut out to be a safety, and for whatever reason, some people disagree, some people agree with that. But through his draft notes, it was said that he's not exactly fast enough, and while his tackling skills are okay, he wasn't the greatest in coverage and whatnot. But through LSU lore, I mean, he did wear number 7, and those Tigers fans know a little bit of what that means to be aware of number 7 for LSU. But I mean, that doesn't mean anything when it comes to the NFL. And hopefully that with some coaching and with Nick Rallis himself as the linebackers coach continuing to build some experience in his own right, being as old as some of these players on the football team, hopefully it'll come full circle. and we build upon that linebacker depth that we so desperately need.
Facts. I want to draft a linebacker first round. We don't get into that part, but let's talk about
Yeah.
this Tampa Bay game, man. We got mollywopped out there. You know what I'm saying? It was disrespectful. I hate watching it. What was your take from Sunday's game?
Well, I would hate to be blunt about it right now, but are we surprised by that?
I was.
Honestly, you know,
I was big time
and it
surprised. I
hurts.
thought we were gonna go run the ball, pound it down their throats. To keep Brady off the field,
Yeah,
score some touchdowns. And make it a game.
yeah, I do understand at the same time, but you look at it on the surface, and the the team that was number one in the NFL in terms of running the football at that point, they were healthy. And you go into this Tampa Bay game, and it was only 3 weeks ago that Miles Sanders had surgery on that broken hand. So you had to imagine that there was going to be some form of limitation without giving away your weaknesses to the other team. That's the last thing you want to do, and that's going to throw me into another subject regarding Jalen Hurts with his ankle, and us hearing about that he actually is going through some ligament issues, and he left the field with a walking boot. So, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that eventually, because I got some opinions on that as well. But in terms of that running game, Boston Scott, at best, he's, to me, Boston Scott is at best like a lower tier number two, and he still has room to grow. He's good for what he does, but it's hard to put the game on his back. You know what I mean? He doesn't have that number one type of quality yet, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, knowing that the Eagles like to run in a committee, and we sure had the committee when we had it, and that's the other problem. Miles, through my predictions earlier, even before the season started, I thought that he was only going to play about 11 or 12 games, and that turned out to be true, because unfortunately he can't stay on the field. He always gets these ticky-tack injuries. The ankle still bothers him. Whether it's this, whether it's that, it's sad, and that's going to deter him from getting a guaranteed extension, which is kind of scary, because outside of Kenny Gainwell, I don't know what other promises we have at the running back position, and that also
We're gonna
goes
get one of
to
these big time free agents guys, because I'm not really buying, Howard coming back. People fail to realize last year Howard had that 6-week stinger. Look how many weeks he was out this year for the stinger. We seen him come back to finale, but you can tell he wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't completely healthy then. And then for him not to get any carries last game, it just shows that his stinger was still bothering him. So this is the type of guy that he get a stinger, he's going to be out 6-7 games of the year. He's just I want us to upgrade the position. You know what I'm saying? There's some good free agent running backs coming out. I think we need to go take a look at them. In terms of Miles Sanders himself, man, he's been hit with that injury bug too. But I think in terms of this game, we just didn't run the ball. That's just what it comes down to. I think the runs we seen Miles run, he actually had some nice runs in that game. It's just he didn't run the ball.
Yeah.
Nick Sirianni totally went against what we were good at and what we should have did, and I know a lot of people keep saying, oh, they stacked the box, they had 8 in the box. I'm like, do you not understand that teams had 8 in the box the whole time? Since the first 250-yard game we did in Detroit, teams were stacking the box against us, and we ran on it. That's not an excuse, As a coach, you be able to scheme up plays to run on the 8-man box, I know they keep saying they were flying around the edges to stop the RPO, but there's ISO plays, there's zone, inside zone plays you could have ran. And hell, we scored a touchdown when we finally did run it, so it's and we had 2 of our biggest runs came from up the middle. So it's those are things I think were coaches' flaws, as opposed to, we not having the talent or what could have happened, should have happened. But we didn't run the ball enough. I think it's a big reason why we lost this game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really. I mean, you bring up the Lions game. I'm not sure the Lions defensive front has a talent the likes of Ndamukong Suh or Vita Vea.
No, I'm
So I
saying it
don't know if
started
that's
at the Lions game, but it continued. It went to the Broncos. They were the number one rush stop in defense, and we
yeah,
did to them. It went to the Saints. They had a good defense.
yeah,
It went to every game. We're on a streak of like 6 games of 250
yeah,
yards.
sure,
You know what I'm saying? So it's not like that one team. I mean, like that's what we did. We were winning football games from running the ball down people's throats. It didn't matter you stacked the box or not. We did our thing. And that's what got us to the playoffs. Like how do
yeah,
you go back to what you did week 2, 3, 4, and 5 when we're losing games when you already had a winning formula? Top rushing team, top 10, 15 defense. You should have just went in there and did what you did best. You kept throwing these screen plays and all these other gibberish plays, like some of the RPOs. Like, why are you still running them if you know they're running blitzing off the end? You
yeah,
know what they're doing to you, but you're gonna continue to do it when you do run the ball. That's the only play you can come up with. Like, it's very vanilla
yeah.
offense. It was kind of suspect garbage, and I think Nick Sirianni takes a big hit for what offense sucked this week.
Yeah, I mean, you can't continue to be predictable. Especially based on your team's limitations. I mean, yeah, we get that. We don't have anywhere near the level of talent that Tampa Bay does, and as we know, teams elevate their level of play when they get into the playoffs, and most certainly, most certainly, the Buccaneers had the personnel to be able to do that, and well. That inexperience, unfortunately, reared its ugly head when we went into this game, and even still, the worst part to me is that it didn't seem that this team learned from their mistakes that they made in the previous meeting in the regular season against Tampa. And that makes it even worse, especially in that game when you had home field advantage, and then you're going into enemy territory, which closes the throats up a little bit more, and you almost still come up with the same game plan. I mean, you
Yeah,
just made it easier for Todd Bowles to scheme against Jalen Hurts and force him to throw the football and take away the run.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy, man. There's a lot of flaws that game.
Yeah,
No one gets passes for me. Excuse me. No one gets passes. Jalen doesn't get a pass. Sirianni doesn't get a pass. I know JG. People say JG had a good defense second half. Whatever. But that first half, we did the exact same thing we did the last 5 weeks of the season. Let a team go up big, and then pray that the offense brings us back to win. And that formula is never supposed to work in the playoffs, and they should have known that. I feel like we continued the same thing. Maybe because we sat everybody week 18 because that game meant nothing. But I thought, it was a good idea. But at the same time, like, you don't want to be rusty going into. If you did something like that, you better come with an awesome game plan the next week in the playoffs, and really shock the world. And we didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? We went there with the same vanilla stuff. They went up big fast, and mistakes were made all over the place. And we look like a rusty football team, a flat football team. So I know we definitely going to have a lot of work to do this offseason.
yeah. Well, if anything, you would hope that this playoff experience, changes some perspectives or thought processes, not just from the players. This this coaching staff needed it quite a lot, and especially going into an off season where your defensive coordinator is getting interviewed by teams for a head coaching job, and people still want Nick Sirianni fired, and Jalen Hurts is not the guy at quarterback, and he still needs help at the receiver position, and there's with all this going into the off season that we've already had throughout the regular season, it just doesn't stop. It doesn't. But but I don't understand how you can take going to the playoffs with the way you were as a negative.
No.
It hurts your team. It hurts your team even more when you don't make the playoffs, because that means your team needs more work. They need more work in terms of how we can get better. And yeah, I understand that. I understand that we did have one of the NFL's easiest schedules, back end schedules, if
Hmm.
you have you, because our first half was a lot tougher than the second half. But guess what? That's not our fault. That's not our problem. These are all professional football teams. These are all
Facts.
professional football players. They still have a job to do. It's your job to beat on that team that you're supposed to beat. So what difference does it make? You know?
Yeah, and it's not like they were close games. We beat up on some teams that were supposed to win, you know? I say
Yeah.
we beat the teams we were supposed to win because we were a little bit better than those teams. And we even
Hmm.
lost to the Giants, which we should both have won that game for sure, you know? But that's an
Oh
anomaly,
Lord.
whatever. The Giants got lucky that day. But I will say the teams that we did lose to was because they were just a better team. You know, people give Jalen like a huge, they got a huge hate for Jalen, right? They think he's not the guy. But I'm like, why are you guys even worried about if he's the guy? Your good job this year was to see if he's going to develop. See if he can develop to become that guy. A rookie contract set for a reason. It gives your team time to look at a player, evaluate him, and then by the time that rookie contract is over, you can now pay him the big money if he earns it, or you can get move on from him if he doesn't. And I think a lot of people are a little bit harsh. You've seen guys like Kyler Murray have a complete garbage game yesterday, and that guy's been in the league longer. He has way more weapons, a better defense, and he
Hmm.
looked like complete trash yesterday. Dak Prescott looked like trash. You know what I'm saying? That's a $40 million quarterback. You know what I'm saying? That's been in the
60.
league way longer than Jalen Hurts, but none of their fan bases are really saying, "Hey, get rid of these guys." But Jalen in his first year starting, everybody's like, "Get rid of Jalen. He's not the guy." I'm like, "Well, we made it to the playoffs, didn't we? We won more than 4 games, didn't we?" So he obviously helped his team become a better team than we were last year.
Yeah.
That's a start. I
Yeah.
think I seen him develop as the year went by. What I'm saying? In the beginning of the season, you see him just hike the ball and run. There's more reasons I think he got into that besides his lack of development. But our line was struggling early. What I'm saying? Things like that happened. But at the end of the season, you actually seen him stand in the pocket. Like we won those last 3 games. Jalen only had like 30 yards rushing. So it wasn't like he was
Hmm.
out there running around doing this normal Jalen Hurts thing. He was actually standing in the pocket and throwing the football when it needed to be thrown. It's the play calling. Every game that we, in our drive where we start to drive off, rushing 3 or less times, Jalen's passing looks horrible. But the drive that we actually start to run, run first, get a run game established, he's an accurate quarterback. It's rhythm of the game. You gotta get this guy a rhythm of the game, and Nick Sirianni definitely didn't do that last game of the season.
I mean, can it be more obvious when you say you set up the pass with the run? I mean, any quarterback. I would have to imagine any quarterback, even Tom Brady, needs a decent running game. Now, yeah, I mean, in that playoff game, he only had what Giovanni Bernard and somebody else behind him. He did not have Ronald Rojo or Leonard Fournette. But when you're the kind of quarterback Tom Brady is, it doesn't matter. He's, I mean,
I
the guy's
think
been
that was
playing
a
in the league for
definitely.
over 2 decades. I mean, that's the difference. We're talking about a quarterback who just finished his second year in the league versus a guy who's been in the league for 22 years. He's been there, done that. How long that he's evolved in that New England system, and then he takes what he knows. He goes to Tampa, and that building upon the relationship with Bruce Arians. We're talking about a 44-year-old versus a quarterback who's only 23. I mean,
Yeah,
and I'm
and
not
that's
gonna
why
I'm not
JG
gonna
don't
get
get no
into that
pass.
tangent quite yet.
We played him. It seemed like he played a little bit worse this time than we did the first time. And they didn't even have all those weapons. They were missing their best receiver, Galladay. He was gone. He was hurt, gone, not even playing. You know what I'm saying? Or Godwin, whatever his name
Yeah,
is.
Chris Godwin, yes.
Yeah, you were missing AB who quit last week. You know what I'm saying? Like off the field, one of their best receivers, best top targets. Fournette didn't play. Jones didn't play, and their other running back, I forgot his name that he was in there. He didn't play. You know what I'm saying? You're missing all these targets that helped beat you guys the first game, and you don't even know how to call a defense, man zone up, and let Slay stay on Mike Evans, the only guy that torched you all day long. You know what I'm saying? You still
Yeah.
had linebackers covering him. You still had guys like Maddox covering him. That's coaching flaws. You know what I'm saying? That's not really on players to me. You only had to stop two people, for real, for real. Two people, Evans and Gronk. That's it. You know, the rest of that stuff could have been whatever. I didn't think Vaughn was going to beat us. He's no world-beating running back to actually beat us on the ground. You know, those are the two players, and both of those guys had good games.
And Tampa even moved Mike Evans into the slot because he knew that was the perfect matchup where he lined up on Avonte Maddox. I mean that just comes down to coaching and execution, knowing a team's strengths and weaknesses. And Jonathan Gannon, I guess he didn't catch up on that soon enough. I mean, sure, there was adjustments made, but it was too little too late when we were down 24-0.
You should have went into the game.
And Tom Brady still had. We talk about Mike Evans and Gronkowski, and he still had Cameron Brate, and he still had O.J. Howard, and he still had Scotty Miller if he needed to. He's got depth at those skill positions. Jalen Hurts really doesn't. And we knew this going into the season that the team wasn't going to be perfect, but we had to know through the perspective of Jalen growing as a quarterback, can you work with what you have? And I think compiling a record of 9-8 when we were supposed to be under 500 with a first-year head coach and a lot of other things, even on top of the 2020 season, what a debacle that was. I think we did okay.
Yeah.
I think we did okay at the end of the day. So I mean,
and that's the thing. Like I said, they were a better football team. They were better coach. They had experienced coaching and a better experienced team than we did. That's why they won. That's what it really came down to. It's like experience over. Everybody's fresh on our squad. Our offense is the youngest side of the ball.
Think of this: Todd Bowles blitzed 46% of the time against Hurts in that game. 46% of those snaps he blitzed on him. I mean, and especially when we add
4% of the time.
47% of the time, Todd Bowles blitzed against Hurts, and then we get the extra context towards the end about that ligament issue. Well, we're not going to use that as an excuse, sure, but there's a reason that he's in a boot, and maybe that has something to do with the lack of velocity that he was able to have on some of his throws instead of jumping down his, I mean, a lot of us, me included, we jumped down his throat about his lack of anticipation, and like there was a lot of stuff that was there, but now when you add the context that he was playing through ligament issues in his ankle and him lacking the ability to throw off of his back foot and his platforms affected a little bit. We already seen Carson go through this when he had his double ligament tear in his knee. Look what it did to him. And then he has that overemphasis. It messes up his back, and he's not the same quarterback. So, I mean, am I trying to put two and two together here? No, because the severity of the injury to Hurts compared to what Carson went through is not the same whatsoever. Right. But, but I mean, the point is you gotta understand that there is a level of patience to this. And I seen earlier today that, Donovan McNabb even commented on it too. He thinks that Philly has the quarterback that they need, and we just need to be patient. So I'm fine with it.
What do you think? You're good with it? You're good with Hurts another season?
Yeah, I'm okay because I'm okay with it because I mean, how else is he going to develop? You're going to let him go to another team that runs a different offense, and then he has to hit the reset button all over again. Then the Eagles have to hit the reset button all over again. I mean, we're not necessarily in a position right now to go after another quarterback without giving up assets. And especially if the quality of quarterbacks in the draft aren't good enough, that any of those quarterbacks in the draft aren't better than Jalen Hurts right now. I'm not saying we're stuck, but it's the most logical decision, especially with having a first year going into his second year head coach. And you get, there's just a rapport. There's something that you have to build upon here. Dak Prescott, unfortunately, and I had to bring this up. I'm sorry, Cowboys fans, but it is the truth. I had to bring this up before I forgot. Dallas has given Dak 6 years. He has the same playoff record as Tony Romo. They're both 1-3 in the playoffs. So, and you guys had what, $75 million entitled to him in one season. Jalen Hurts barely costs a fraction of that. So what do you have to lose to try and figure out what he is going from year 2 to year 3 and potentially his second year starting for an NFL football team when you have the assets and you have the weaponry to go and build a better team around him? I'm not saying it's common. I'm not saying that this is common sense either. But when you talk about it logically, there's really no other solution here unless you want to completely backtrack what Howie Roseman was able to accomplish in acquiring 3 first-round picks. Are you going to throw that all away for a quarterback to put yourself in a win-now situation when you understand that the roster around said quarterback is not good enough? There's no sense in it to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all, man. Like you said, like, if he were a complete waste of time, you know what I'm saying? Like, say Hurts came and he had 2,000 yards passing, 400 yards rushing, 12 and 12, 12 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 3 rushing touchdowns. Then I'll be looking at like, oh, wow, dude, this guy was really not that good. We need to do something different about it. We can probably draft a quarterback better than that. You know what I'm saying? But the guy broke records this year. How many times did you turn on the TV or, go online and see, oh, Jalen Hurts, the first guy, ever to do this. Jalen Hurts, the first quarterback to do this. Jalen Hurts, the first quarterback to do that. He ended up with over 3,000 yards passing. 16, 17 touchdowns, something like that. Almost 1,000 yards rushing with another 10 touchdowns. No quarterbacks even had 10 touchdowns in our franchise history. We end up with the number 1 rushing team of all time, and that could be contributed to the extra game, but that also I think we did that in week 17 too. So I don't think the extra game even mattered. It's just the effect that he has on the team, like when Jalen Hurts didn't play, that game that everybody wanted Minshew against the Jets, our running went from 250 to 180. You know what I'm saying? And they asked Miles Sanders, do you think it was a little harder? Why was it a little bit harder for you guys to run? They go, because Jalen Hurts is not out there. Linebackers have to account for Jalen Hurts. You know what I'm saying? Whether he's going to keep the ball or not. Those are big deals and big things that can help, help your running game go. I was on someone else's podcast. They were like, yeah, but it wasn't Jalen Hurts that, got us that number 1 rushing attack. It was the running backs in the running game. I'm going, whoa. Like, Jalen had 800 yards, my guy. Like, that's a lot of the rushing game by itself. And you have guys like Miles telling you that, hey, the lanes are bigger. Our offensive line does help because we have a good offensive line to run the ball. But the running lanes are a little bit wider when Jalen Hurts is running the opposite way than I'm running. You know what I'm saying? Because they're worried about him keeping the ball in their hands. So, I just think, there are a lot of intricate things. Like, yes, is he more, the athlete running back type quarterback for now? Yes. But no one, and I mean no one, knows the ceiling for a 23-year-old. You know what I'm saying? That's just getting into the league. They keep saying he can't pass, but hey, I've seen a lot of great passes from Jalen Hurts today, this year. Is it all consistent all the time? No, but there's a lot of great passes. Some of the games that we were down, he passed us back to wins. You know what I'm saying? Like, he came in and threw touchdowns. And that's just facts. Like, people can go. I can understand they want more accurate quarterback, but if you really think about it, this year in football in general, like, how many super accurate quarterbacks were they? How many top flight quarterbacks that were throwing dimes all day long? None of them really. People want Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson had way more talent, a better coach, and a better defense. He was trash this year, the whole year. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you got to be kind of like, I think they said PFF had him ranked 11th overall quarterback this year. When you add in the EPA or something like that, he was 11th overall quarterback. And then NFL had him the 13th in power ranking quarterback this year. Like, For a guy in his first season, those are some pretty high notes for the season to be going into for a quarterback. Like people want an elite quarterback, but in reality, there's only like two. You know,
I mean, it's not. I don't think it's that terrible for a first year starter. Now, yeah, we don't want to put an emphasis on first year starter because we understand that it was his second year. Unfortunately, year one went the way it did with the implosion of the team and the quarterback. But you know, year two for him to go 26 total touchdowns to 9 interceptions. It's not terrible. It's not terrible. 61 completion percentage. That's not
that's
terrible.
pretty good.
I would think that's about average. I mean, statistically, and I dropped a video on it myself, but going through it statistically, Hurts was average, and for him in his current state, it's not bad. I think the most important thing is, does Hurts give you something to build upon? I think he does. I think it's easy to point that out that he does. And one of the best examples, there's a lot of good examples that we can give to that. Josh Allen wasn't great in his first couple of years, but they continued to work with him. What did the Buffalo Bills do? They brought in who'd they bring in? Brian Dable to work with him, and they got him a number one receiver in Stephon Diggs. They got him the necessary things he needs to exceed. They understood what they needed to do to blanket his weaknesses. So all the Eagles need to do is, if they're willing to make the investment, you just do the same thing. A lot of the criticisms that we're hearing about Hurts right now, that running quarterbacks don't last and he's not good of a passer. Where did we hear this before? Baltimore Ravens fans. I mean, come on, for crying out loud. Lamar's still getting that to this day. So I mean, for a quarterback that's only 23 years old, and for the amount of experience that he has built upon so far, there is something there. And I only bring up Josh Allen because of the fact that some aspects of his game he had a long way to go. And that's where the comparison ends. Really, I'm not saying in terms of Hurts' arm strength to Allen's, because they're completely different. Allen's a different quarterback. He's built like Carson Wentz. They're gunslingers. Hurts is a dynamic playmaker and able to use not just his arm but his legs. But what did we know about Hurts coming out of college? Mm-hmm. He had some issues as a passer, but he was dynamic enough to where his game does work in the NFL. And
his playmaking skills can win you a football game.
They can.
Mm-hmm.
They can. So.
Yeah. And about this note here, he says, I prefer a quarterback who's obviously a franchise quarterback. Way to see an approach sucks. Yeah, it's true. It sucks. But to be honest, ain't nobody coming out of college that's a franchise quarterback off the jump.
How else are you going to find out?
They get crowned the franchise quarterback, and people hope for them to be. But like you said, everybody's first year is not the greatest. There hasn't been a guy that just came in and balled out completely. And if there is, maybe one. And this is like the history of NFL football. There's not very many of these guys coming out, balling out. All those guys that we named that are the best quarterbacks in the league all struggled. The Russell Wilsons, the Kyler Murrays, the Tom Brady's, the Peyton Mannings, the Eli Mannings, you know what I'm saying? The Phillip Rivers, the Drew Brees, you know what I'm saying? Drew Brees wasn't that good at San Diego. He really started lighting it up when he got to New Orleans. Was Sean Payton schemed him up a bunch of good stuff. Like there's things that all correlate together. But in terms of this day and age in football, the football team has to be good too. You know what I'm saying? You name those guys. Look how many playmakers they have on the outside. Yes, you could say we got Devontae Smith, who's a rookie. You know what I'm saying? He's still learning the NFL game. He still had a good season. You know what I'm saying? But but Chase did this, or Jefferson did that last year, or Waddle did this. It's like Chase went to a team that already had two good receivers. He wasn't supposed to have all the pressure. He just seemed to blossom at the end of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they still had to account for Boyd and Higgins. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are two good receivers that he had on his squad already. You know, he wasn't number one, the only receiver that's worth
Yeah.
anything on your team. You know what I'm saying? Waddle had
Jamar Chase.
Devontae Parker and Fuller on his squad. So he was going into a situation where he wasn't going to have all the pressure on him. You know, Devontae Smith is our only legit receiver. You know, we love Quez Watkins. He's a speedster. But no one even expected him to be nothing this year until he had such a good offseason and came into the season this year and did what he did. You know what I'm saying? And I'm still high on him. But Quez Watkins is like a number 3 receiver. You know what I'm saying? He's not a number 1. He's not a number 2. He's a number 3 receiver, you know? Most of these good teams, Dak got Cooper, Lamb, you know, Gallup, and then Wilson. You know what I'm saying? Like, the first 3 definitely could start on a lot of people's football teams. You know what I'm saying? Cooper, Lamb, and Gallup are starting on a lot of people's football teams. You know what I'm saying? You know, even Kyler over there, he got Hopkins, Green, Kurt, you know, what's that rookie? Rondell Moore he just got, you know? Like, those are some nice receivers, you know, that's a nice arsenal of receivers. You know, even the Rams, I was just watching the Rams. They got Cooper, Kupp,
Robert Woods before he got hurt. They just picked up Odell. Cam Akers came back. Tyler Higbee's an awesome tight end. Yeah. You know, and I say Jamar Chase went to a team, to a quarterback he knows very well. Mm-hmm. Him and Joe Burrow were inseparable in college, and look what happens when he gets into the NFL. Come on. That's just, that comparison is just stupid. I'm sorry. It is. Chase is a talented receiver, but he wasn't a Heisman winner. Devontae Smith was. Yeah. And, you know, unfortunately, Devontae and Jalen could not build a bigger rapport in college. It is what it is. But, you know, NFL is a higher level than the collegiate level. And that's where it needs to happen for Hurts and Smith. So, I mean, yeah, but still.
They're going to get better next year, too. I see them being a lot better. But we need to get another big-name receiver in here, whether it's free agency. I'll put the bank down for Devontae Adams if he wants to come. You know what I'm saying? I'll go get the Breeze truck, back it up. You can manipulate the contract so we're not taking this too huge of a hit, you know, salary cap-wise, where we're still giving him his money. And that would be a perfect guy to throw number 1, and Devontae could be the 1B on the other side. Then you can put Quez, you know, because then these guys are kind of fitting in where they need to be. You know, Devontae take all that first receiver coverage away from everybody. You know, then you have Devontae playing on your second best cornerback, so he can light it up like Ridley did when he had Julio Jones. You know what I'm saying? Then he'll light it up a little bit more. His stats will even get better. And then you have Quez getting open a lot more, being on the number 3 cornerback as opposed to having the number 2 or number 1 from time to time.
Perfect example. Odell Beckham is getting single covered. He's getting single covered matchups against lesser talent because who's on the field with him? Cooper Kupp. You know, I mean, there's a simple example right there, man. You know, but I think for me where it'll happen to where Hurts becomes a better quarterback is just flat out. I don't necessarily think it has to do with his arm strength to an extent. It starts at the beginning to me. It's like as soon as the ball is snapped, his pocket presence isn't that great. You know, he doesn't have good pocket presence. He drifts too far on his dropbacks. He escapes the pocket too early. So I mean, it's a lot of sort of trust and anticipatory skills that he needs to work on. I mean, you know, look at the offensive line that we possessed for him, and you have Jordan Mailata on your left side. You have Jordan Mailata and Landon Dickerson protecting his blind side, and then you got Lane Johnson, and then you had Brandon Brooks for a hot minute, and then you had Jack Driscoll for a hot minute, and still Nate Herbig came in and did what he needed to do. Bottom line is, we had one of, if not the best, offensive line in football to protect Jalen Hurts, to where I think he only got sacked throughout the entire year with an extra game 26 times. That's not a lot at all compared to Carson getting sacked 50 times in 2020. But granted, that's due to offensive line injuries and all those different types of rotations. But you know, sacks, sacks are valued different. It's whether the sack was created by the quarterback or was created by poor pass protection. And, a lot of those for Hurts, he a lot of those sacks were created on him because he has a little bit of indecisiveness and trying to figure out where to go with the football, and we already know that he doesn't like throwing to one side of the field. But at the end of the day, a lot of those things are easy to fix.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to know if they're like you can invest the time to help him improve. And that's going to be up to Sirianni. It's going to be up to Brian Johnson. It's going to be up to the offensive coordinator. Everybody that's involved throughout the passing game, Kevin Patullo, all those guys included. That doesn't happen overnight, especially the fact that Hurts is 23 years old, and we basically want somebody better, a 2.0. Russell Wilson's going to be 34 soon.
Yeah.
We're not in a win now situation. So you're better off trying to figure out what Jalen Hurts is going to be as an NFL quarterback, and I think he's off to a good start so far, despite the circumstances.
Yeah. What kind of weapons would you bring him in next year? You see these free agents. Are you going to the draft to get them young receivers to go down that route again? Or do you think we need to get a veteran receiver like, I seen a question in here say Mike Williams, Devontae Adams, Robinson from Chicago. I think Evans and Godwin are free agents. If either one of them leaves Tampa Bay, you know what I'm saying? Who else they got out there? Juju Smith-Schuster. There's a lot of, veteran receivers out there. Are you going after one of these veterans, or are you going to wait and pull off one of these receivers out of the draft?
How old are Burrow and Herbert? that's not even the same thing.
You can't even say that because
Hurts was a second round pick rated in the third or the fourth.
That's the hugest difference that you guys aren't realizing. These are in their second year starting, even though Burrow's got hurt, but they have way more targets, a better defense on their team. That's where their team wins more. And plus, Hurts was in the playoff. Where was Herbert? Herbert wasn't in no playoffs this year.
Herbert and Burrow were top 10 picks. It's not the same.
And then
of course they're more talented, but you still need time to build upon that.
And he got nice targets over there. A lot of big boys, Herbert. Allen Williams, the guy that we want to come to our team is already on Herbert's team. You know what I'm saying? Palmer played some good football this year. What's his name? The tight end, Cooks over there. He had a nice season again for a veteran tight end. He had some good weapons. Eckler, good running back, proven running back. They had a couple of those guys over there. The talent level on the offense was way higher. All these good quarterbacks that you guys want to name, they all have more talent than we did on the offensive side of the ball. So that arguments to me are always relative. People don't believe, and it's hard for some of these people to understand that if you got a talented receiver, they're going to make your quarterback look better. You know what I'm saying? They will. They make each other. Quarterbacks make a receiver look better. And that's sometimes the case, and sometimes the case the receiver makes the quarterback look better. Because you don't have to be 100% perfect with an elite receiver. He's going to go get the ball. Because he want it. You know what I'm saying? He's already mastered his craft. He's going out there. He's catching balls, getting open and catching more balls. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to we got all these young first and second year receivers out there. They don't even know how to run routes right. Last week we had freaking Quez Watkins pulling up on routes. You know what I'm saying? He's supposed to be running it over and over again when you're down in a football game. Who does that? That's not no veteran receiver. That's not no stud star receiver when you're pulling up on routes in the middle of a game when you're trying to fight back and get into it. What up, Super Philly?
Burrow and Herbert would have lit up Smith and Goddard way more than Hurts did. Is that saying much? Did you're we got to stop moving the goalpost here for one, because if you continue to project further down the road, you're going to forget about what you have right now, and it's just going to wrongly increase expectations. It doesn't make sense, man. I mean,
And you can't even say that
you
because they have different
you
coordinators
can't put
too.
Burrow and Herbert in that situation, because that means Sirianni is going to be their play caller and Jonathan Gannon is going to be their defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
It's not the same. It's not the same situation. The play
facts.
calling is not going to be the same. The play calling is not going to be the same. The level of talent is not going to be the same. That doesn't make any sense, man.
Yeah, and that's what people like to do too. They would do good and hard. Even the whole Jamar Chase, not Jamar Chase, last year when they were saying that what's his name from Minnesota,
Justin Jefferson.
Jefferson would have been good. I go, did you not watch our team last year? Justin Jefferson could have came here and been trash. He could have. He wouldn't have
Minshew
been the
played the
best.
Jets.
Put up
Stop it.
all them numbers on our offense. The way our offense sucked last year, Carson was garbage. The offensive play calling was garbage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Our line was decimated. You got to stop thinking, if they're inside certain different players or on different teams, they'll be better. Because that's not true. And Jefferson has Thielen over there. That's another elite receiver, too, to take some pressure off of him. There's just things that, you got to be able to look at all the variables. Don't just look at the point blank, the easiest fix. If we had this player, we had Dapper. If we had DK, but what DK do this year? And he has Wilson, he has Lockett, he has all these guys over there. And DK didn't have that great of a season. There's things that you could say, that really, will show you that it's not that bad, guys. Like Hurts did a great job for what he had. Now it's the Eagles' job to go out this offseason and put some talent around them. We got all the money we need. And especially if Brandon Brooks retires, that's even like $13 million more you got to spend, that you're not paying him for, and 3 first-round draft picks, 15, all 3 in the top 20. Those are
15, 16, and 19,
people
yep.
if we draft all 3 picks. 23 in the top 20, that's awesome. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's awesome. And
I mean, that you build your team through the draft. You don't build it through free agency. And how often do you get 3 first-round picks, especially in a draft class that's great for defense and even offensive playmakers, but no, stop. Chris, just stop it. Minshew played the Jets. Stop it.
And that's the hugest thing. They keep talking about that stupid game. Minshew was underthrowing people. The same thing Hurts was doing, Minshew did that game. We just won. You know what I'm saying? He was underthrowing receivers all game long. I even think the play calling was better that game than I've seen in a lot of games this year, where actual receivers are getting schemed open, and that's Sirianni in their scheme. Like, everybody don't remember when these guys first got here, especially Stecken, they warned us and told us these guys like to do a lot of screens, a lot of short plays, like a lot of short stuff. And we wondering why isn't Devontae getting used right, getting all these deep plays. In Alabama, you see Devontae catching 40, 50-yard bombs for touchdowns. We didn't throw very many, and it's not all because of Hurts. And everybody will say, they did it because of his arm. Did you not see the overthrow that he threw to Quez Watkins? When Quez pulled up a little bit, he overthrew it a little bit. That was like a 70-yard bomb, my guy. Like, he can throw the ball as far as you need. The arm strength isn't the problem. It's the consistency and accuracy, being able to read these defenses. You know what I'm saying? Be able to set your feet right so you can actually throw accurate deep balls and accurate passes is a problem. So I don't know. I think people get a little confused by what they see out there.
I had a good thought off of the top of my head, and I can't remember it now. But in terms of quarterbacks, we're getting so hell bent over Jalen Hurts the same way at times we were getting hell bent about Carson in year 3 and how he was going to look moving forward after those injuries. How do we think the Cleveland Browns feel right now about Baker Mayfield and all the talent that he had offensively and defensively? All that talent. How do you think the Browns feel? We're better off right now.
Yeah.
We are. Point blank. We're better off. We have a better future to look forward to. The Browns might be looking for a quarterback. The Broncos are looking for a quarterback. The Saints are looking for a quarterback. Washington's looking for a quarterback. At least almost half the
Giants
league
should
is
be
in
looking for
search
a
for a quarterback. We don't need to be a part of it. We don't. We're set up perfectly fine.
Yeah, man. Parsons got. I think Debo stiff armed Parsons in that game. He wasn't that super guy.
Oh yeah.
What?
By the way, when you talk about
What's
oh
good,
sorry
Jalen Bay? Shout out to my guy, Jalen Bay. Successful
yeah
2K
but
is around the corner. I know. I need 20 more subs. So if you guys have not subbed to Bird Gang, get me to 2K. 20 more subs, my guy. Hook it up. Hit that like too while y'all in here. But go ahead. What were you gonna say?
and you talking about offenses that scheme receivers open. Ask Jimmy Garoppolo how good of a job Kyle Shanahan does.
Woo!
But Kyle Shanahan is a veteran. He's a veteran. He's a veteran play designer of scheming a West Coast offense. A little bit of what Sirianni likes to do. Look at the difference there.
But what do you mean waiting too long? This was his first year starting. Waiting too long is 4 years down the road, 3 years down the road. This was his first year starting, my guy. That's not waiting too long. That's 1 year. You name one other quarterback that had a better first year than that. Carson didn't even have this good of a year, I don't think, in first year. Because you got to add his rushing yards in. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. And he had more turnovers, I think, his first year. Our record was the same. We're 9-7, right? Carson's first year.
Gardner Minshew does not equal Derek Carr. He's still
Hell
in his
no.
rookie deal. Stop it. Oh
If
my
he equaled
goodness.
Derek Carr, he would still be on the Jags. They would have never drafted freaking Sunshine over there, and he'll be a starting quarterback. Nick Foles would have never took his job. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, you got to be ridiculous with this stuff. Stop it already. Stop it. That Hurt doesn't have anticipation once your receiver has to step up his opponent. He has to rip it. Yeah, but he has shown passes with anticipation. It's not all the time. And like I said before, sometimes some of these receivers aren't running full speed. Sometimes they're not even running the right route. You know, there's a lot of things that we don't see. It's easy for us to look at the TV and say, oh, man, Hurts missed that one. You know what I'm saying? We don't know his progression. We don't know who's supposed to get the ball in that play. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we don't have no clue about. All we see is a guy running wide open and we're wondering why he's not throwing the ball. Some of those times he's even getting pressured. You know what I'm saying? And you're wondering why he didn't throw the ball. So it's like, I don't know. I'm not really big on that one. Like, you know, like you definitely got to.
I mean,
there's no perfect quarterback, period. That's basically, even Tom Brady was throwing garbage the first quarter, and he was still putting up points while he was throwing garbage. You know what I'm saying?
The most important thing is you knowing, like, as long as you know it's there, there's something to improve upon. If he hasn't showed it at all or less often, then yeah, you got a big problem. But Hurts has been able to do that.
Yes.
You know, and a lot of people harp back to the game that he had in his first year against the Arizona Cardinals, where he was going toe to toe with Kyler Murray.
Yes,
like how good he looked in that game, and he's looked that way even this year too.
Yeah, there's a couple of games he threw over 300 yards. I think, what was it, the Kansas City game? He threw for like 350 or something like that. And Carson only won 7 games his first year.
It was almost 400 yards. I think he had like 387.
Yeah.
But
the boy can throw the ball.
A lot of it came late in the game where I don't want to call it garbage time because
whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to call it that, but a lot of them came from there.
On their stats, win or lose most of the time. There's no team that goes through a whole season where it's full, like, you know, a win by one possession the whole year. You know what I'm saying? Either some games you're winning high, some games you're winning low. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and Carson, he won more games than Carson his first year, but we loved Carson. We're begging for this man to get a franchise quarterback paycheck. You know, he said NBC did a poll, 60% voted Hurts to be gone. Most people see. I did a poll too, and only like 20% of the people say Hurts is gone. The polls don't really mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Why are
that's just,
why are we worried about what a poll says? How many of those people have common football sense that are voting in that are just either fair weather or living in the moment that that can't think to what lies ahead, what they have right now.
Richie
I don't
said.
know.
Richie said, "What about? Let's move over to the defense. We already out. We ain't even touched defense yet." Bobby Wagner. Bobby
It's just
Wagner.
Hurts talk, man.
Would you get Bobby Wagner? Is he a free agent or they're saying we had to trade for him?
He's saying at the start of next year, at the start of next season, he's going to go into the last year of his contract. So, yeah, we would have to trade for him, and either it would be either a trade and sign, or let him play out the contract and see what he does. But I mean, that's if you're going to do that, that's basically comparable to an expensive free agent. So I mean, he would be, depending on when you get him, whether it's at the trade deadline or during the offseason or whatever. I don't know. He would be an expensive rental, but I, it's I think it's going to come down to what we do in the draft. More
But
importantly, I think the draft is going to dictate more so what we do in the offseason to try and balance the level of veterans and young players that we're trying to build on.
and Bobby Wagner's a great football player. I'm not even hating on him at all.
Yeah.
But there's too many good linebackers in this draft early to not go
Hmm.
get. Like, honestly, people thought I was ridiculous, but I'm serious. 15 and 16, I would draft Dean if he's there and Harris the very next pick. You know what I'm saying? If they're both there, just to solidify that position so you won't have to hear no more noise about the linebacker position for years to come, unless somehow they become busts, which I really highly doubt that these guys will be busts, because they're too good a football team. They both had their teams in the national championship, and they both balled out in that game. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like, they're ballers. Dean and Harris, those are both ballers. I would get two of them, man. And if you don't, you got to get one of them, and you got to get a free agent linebacker. That's good. Not no freaking guy, a project guy, not no Wilson. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a stud. Go trade for a stud. Get like a Patrick Queen or someone at that level, someone of that caliber. Because you need two good linebackers. If we had two good linebackers, this defense won't look so bad. That is the weak link of this defense and why we get abused all the time. It's because these linebackers are garbage. They're the best in our team. Everybody's clamored by, TJ Edwards. Oh, he did so good this year. It's only because he's the best linebacker on our team. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you put TJ Edwards up on the top board against all the top linebackers, he's last. Like, these other linebackers are awesome compared to him. So it's like we got to look at a lot of things like that too. Like, we need to stop crowning these guys just because they're the best in our team for that year, thinking that we could do something with this guy, give him another year. No, we need to actually go get some elite talent, some first round studs, and throw them in this offense. Everybody wants to trade back one of those first round picks for it. We'll still have a first round pick the year after if we need to get a
Hmm.
quarterback, Like, we don't need to trade nothing back. We need to go in attack this draft that is very defensive heavy and grab three of these studs and add to our defense next year instead of worried about, field gaps. Like Harris might be gone. What's that boy name?
Anthony Harris and Rodney,
And,
both of their
and
contracts expired.
Nelson might be gone too.
Yeah.
Nelson. So go get two linebackers or get what's that DT Carter? Is that his name from Georgia? The DT from
I think
Georgia.
so.
Yeah, he's a beast.
So,
Everybody say though he's a 26-year-old beast, but who cares? He's a beast. He's a monster. He's 3'3", 330 pounds. We need to do something with Fletcher Cox because his contract and his play is not adding up. Get three stud defensive players. The second one could get Sauce, the cornerback from Cincinnati. Get him and two linebackers. I'll be ecstatic. For next year, and that's not including free agent. I think we really do need to go get a free agent receiver, though. I don't think we need to wait to the draft, even though there's some good ones coming out of the draft. I don't want to get a veteran, a guy that knows how to, work his way around the field and knows how to read defenses. You know what I'm saying? That's going to find that open zone for his quarterback every play in, play out. We got too many unexperienced receivers out there just trying to make the team. Like these guys are just hoping to stay on the team type receivers as opposed to, guys that already been established in the league, so.
Yeah. I think that there's a difference between saying somebody was good like based on their performance and somebody who was good based on what they are. TJ Edwards was an undrafted free agent. Alex Singleton came from the Canadian Football League. It would be a different type. It would be a different way of saying good if it was the likes of an established veteran like a Bobby Wagner or Jordan Hicks or whoever it would be at that linebacker spot. And we talk about the lack of good cornerback play in areas outside of Slay, and we talk about the safeties being bad and this and that. Well, what helps elevate their game when you got good guys playing at the second level? Singleton and Edwards aren't the greatest. Davion Taylor still needs work. Sean Bradley is limited to special teams. Jacoby Stevens was a rookie this year. We got no depth at the linebacker core, and just imagine if you had somebody commanding that defense at the linebacker spot to better understand coverages or figure out what an offense is doing, play recognition. Just imagine what that does for corners and safeties to help them set up in better positions. When you say the safeties weren't good or the corners weren't good, a lot of that has to do with the second level, whether it's run defense or pass defense. It's that's how the defense operates as a system. If you got one weak link, the others are going to get exposed because they have less capability and the responsibility that they need to carry out.
Facts, man. It's facts. Everybody's playing. It's like overworking the system. You know what I'm saying? They're working a lot harder than needs to be working. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, like Gannon's scheme, we all hate it to death, but it's also a scheme that he took from Minnesota that was one of the best defenses in the league. You know what I'm saying? And the difference between that team and this team is, you had a young Harris, you had Anthony Barr, you have Harrison Smith, you had Eric Kendricks. You had some studs over there running this scheme, as opposed to us having a bunch of young players and unproven players running this scheme. It's a big difference. Or old guys, you know what I'm saying, that are kind of getting towards the end of their career. So, you inject some youth into there, you might actually get something. You know what I'm saying? You might actually get something that looks a lot better. Because you see when he makes his adjustment, but most of it, we just got to stop playing so much prevent defense. I don't care. Like, players or no players. You just got to stop playing.
Look what Jim Schwartz had to do in 2019 with Malcolm Jenkins. He played almost 100% of the snaps all year, and it was floating between all three different secondary type of positions. He was dropped down as a linebacker. He was put in a corner. He was put in a corner spot. He was playing safety.
Yeah.
What is that a testament to? That's not just a testament to the player's skill set and how good he is, but that's also a testament to the lack of talent around him.
Right.
I mean, that's like almost asking Slay to do the same thing, but he already has a lot on his plate, and and Steven Nelson was still serviceable. Let's not get that twisted. Let's not get that twisted. Would we have rather had Ronald Darby or Jalen Mills over Steven Nelson? Me personally, no, I would not have. I think their performance was blown out of proportion a little bit based on trying to adjust and get used to Jonathan Gannon's defensive scheme, with him being a first-year defensive coordinator. And with Jonathan Gannon, yeah, I mean, there's a two things can be true type of scenario, but if he's not a good defensive coordinator, maybe he's a better fit as a head coach. We have no idea. Maybe that's why he's getting interviews the way he is for a head coaching position, although it doesn't make sense because of what he wasn't able to do at the defensive coordinator spot. But you just never know. But I mean, that's part of my that's part of my point. And
Are you hoping he
what,
gets picked up for a head coaching job?
what's that?
Now, are you hoping that he does get picked up though for a head
Oh,
coaching job so we can get a new defensive coordinator?
well, I mean, kind of, because I think Gannon suffered from a little bit of Jim Schwartz syndrome. They both played a style of bend don't break type of defense, and maybe at the same time, you can agree or disagree with me on this one, but I I think at points both Schwartz and Gannon also did suffer from a lack of talent at some level. You
Facts.
know, I mean,
That's true.
for how long was it? One of the easiest differences that you can point out is that, where Schwartz had a great safety, Gannon had a great corner. There was that kind of switch. They both had good defensive fronts. They both had below average linebackers, but there was a swap between the corner and safety position. Not to mention that some guys were younger and, Gannon lost Brandon Graham. Some players underperformed. The Eric Wilson experiment failed. So, I mean, they took their punches. They did the job that they tried to accomplish what they did. It was unfortunate that it didn't work, but at the end of the day, we also need to figure out the type of players that, what type of players do we need to fit the system that's being implemented? And a lot of the guys left over from the previous year, minus the rookies that Gannon wanted in the draft, some of the guys that we had weren't necessarily a good fit. Josh Sweat wasn't a good fit for what Jonathan Gannon wanted to do. And trying to float Patrick Johnson between DE and linebacker as a rookie, trying to work out Jacoby Stevens, trying to work out Teron Jackson. A lot of stuff did not work. So that's another thing that we need to figure out. If Jonathan Gannon is not going to be the defensive coordinator anymore, we got to figure out, based on who the D coordinator is, we got to do a better job of picking talent that fits the scheme that they're trying to bring. And I don't think Gannon did a good enough job with who he wanted to bring in.
So do you think what the offseason is getting those guys, like we said, maybe if we go out and get a dean, what I'm saying, get one of these DNs out of the draft, since there's so many of those, and then say go get Sauce, like where you got three, one at each level, should be stars in the league, should be. They still got to come prove it. But from the tape, they look like stars in the league. You injected that into the defense with maybe a couple of free agents. You think that would be all you need to see a better defense next year?
Well, if the Cowboys were able to hit on Micah Parsons, the Eagles could have the Eagles could have some kind of luck in that regard. Yeah, I mean, is Micah Parsons looking like a generational talent? We don't know yet, but he played pretty damn good for a Dallas defense that was lacking at some point in time until they put it together with their new defensive coordinator in Dan Quinn. So, but again, there's a difference there. Dan Quinn's a lot more experienced than Jonathan Gannon, and we can continue to harp on Gannon all we want, but the facts are the facts. But for what Parsons was able to do to elevate that defense, you can't say the same for anybody on our roster minus the secondary, because Darius Slay did a damn good job in helping out that secondary, but we don't have anyone that can float around at the first or the second level, and then we end up seeing Fletcher Cox dropping back into a linebacker look or some kind of exotic look that he was trying to do in that Tampa Bay game. But yeah, man, I mean, like I said, if the Cowboys can hit on Micah Parsons and we get another type of talent like Micah was, that that's only going to elevate what a defensive coordinator can do, because again, schematically it's also based on the player's strengths and weaknesses, and those weaknesses then create limitations to where you can't do what you truly want to do. And did Gannon suffer from some of that? Possibly, but you know, he still didn't put it together. So yeah, I mean, sure, the draft would definitely help.
No, man. Yeah, man. I'm expecting us, man. I think, like you said, man, it was a good season. We went
Hmm.
farther than expect us to go. We seen some players. We kind of got a better sense of what players, can do for our team.
Yeah,
And now we know that we need to add more talent. Because, like I said, even with a good scheme, like our talent level's not matching a lot of these top flight teams. We can continue to get to playoffs with the team that we have, and some more experience for some of these younger players. We can probably get back to the playoffs again next year. But if we're talking about being a contender, Super Bowl champion again, then we need more talent. That's where
yeah,
it ends up at the end of the day. Like we just need more talent. Like because the talent level's not matching up. Like we need more playmakers. We need better defense. We need, you know,
yeah.
our
I mean,
offensive line. We need to draft. Someone said, "Do you think we should draft a center?" And I was like, "Well, somewhere in the draft, But I also think that Kels probably come back another year, and if he doesn't, then we got Sayamalu who didn't play all year. We really
yeah,
drafted Sayamalu to be Kels's replacement. Kels never left, and he was the next best, lineman to play guard. So he played guard. You know what I'm saying? So and he did a good job. We won a Super Bowl with him. So I don't
yep.
mind. I don't really want to change Landon. I don't really want to move Landon to center next year. I don't want to do it. I think him and Mailata kind of got a bond going on over there, and I think that bond can
Hmm.
help them play better than any other thing. I know they're still on the same line as starters, but it's different when you're playing right next to each other. So that's kind of
Yeah.
a combination I don't want to touch.
And how young that left side is, But I mean, I get that Landon was drafted for a reason in terms of that kind of versatility, but you don't tear down what you've already built up if it's working. And and especially, it's hard to find offensive linemen at that size with their type of talent.
Yeah,
And we're not even talking about Jeff Stoutland, what he's been able to do. To me, the best offensive line coach in football. I mean, I don't care. I don't care what you say. To take a rugby player and turn him into an almost Pro Bowl caliber left tackle in what 4 or 5 years. That's that
yeah.
that's remarkable to me. That is. So
He's gonna be a
yeah,
perennial Pro Bowler. It's probably starting next year.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like
unbelievable.
I'm surprised he didn't get it this year. He had a couple of bad
Yeah.
games, but no.
I think Lane deserved it a little bit too. If he didn't get hurt, I think he also would have got it. Because
Yeah.
Lane kind of he he went a little bit under the radar, I think, because of that injury and coming back from that collapsed ankle and the way he was able to play and lock down that right side, especially when he lost Brandon Brooks again, and then he ended up losing Jack Driscoll, having no rapport with a consistent right guard, and Lane was Lane. He paved the lane again,
Yeah.
and he's just as valuable on that right side as Landon and Mailata are on the left. And
If anything, I'll
as
draft
we kind
another
of continue
guard.
to age, that
We can
type
get a
of
good
veteranship
guard.
is going to be
If
hard to
we can
come
get
by.
Linderbaum, if that Linderbaum dude drops to like 15, I would use the 15 pick for him because he is
That
a really good lineman. You know what I'm
I
saying?
would, yeah, I would be okay with that.
Even
You know,
if
I,
Kelsey
I mean,
stays, I would go ahead and grab him. You can put him at
yeah,
guard too. So now you got an awesome right and left side once Brooks leaves because that's another thing because everybody liked Driscoll. And I like Driscoll. He didn't play bad there, but his body type, he don't look like a guard. He look like a tackle playing guard.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I liked Herbert a little bit more. And who knows, Herbert with another offseason, some more training, some more weight training and whatnot, he could even be better and good enough to actually be our guard moving forward here. I thought, it'd be Herbert and Driscoll once Lane leaves, and Brooks is gone. That's gonna be our right side. And I'm
I
kind of
mean,
all right with
didn't
that too, as long as they keep developing the way they did. If they could take the jump that they made from year 1 to year 2, again from year 2 to year 3, then hey, we
yeah,
got
I
some
mean,
good guys
didn't
there.
Herbig already lose like 45
Yeah,
pounds in training camp
yeah,
just to do a better job at the right guard position?
yeah.
He he knows. Like, that's already a good sign in itself. And there's nothing wrong with building depth. And and I would not be mad either if Linderbaum was there at 15. I wouldn't be mad if we take him, because for as many years as how he has been here as GM, and learning from Andy Reid and how he wanted to build teams and whatnot, they understand that it starts from the trenches to have a good offensive and defensive line. A quarterback is nothing with a bad offensive line. Howie understands that. That's why Landon was so controversial in the second round to begin with, because we're spending a second rounder on a lineman with injury issues. And well, I mean, we had thoughts during camp and everything, that was he going to be redshirted? Is he starting? And lo and behold, he only missed how many games? And and in his rookie year, he played pretty damn well. So that's why it is as important as it is to sometimes use those higher picks to build the trenches, because sometimes that's what settles football games. Offensive line versus defensive line, and you need the talent on both sides of the football.
Yeah, that's so true, man. So true, man. But yeah, let's go ahead and put a bowl on it. Like, what grade are you giving the offense for the season?
Offensively, an offensive grade. Let me see. In all honesty, if we're going by
grading
a letter
coaches
grade,
separate, so it's just the offensive players basically.
Yeah. Offense as a whole.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we're going by letter grade, I would probably have to cut it down the middle or a little bit above. So I would say anywhere from C to C plus. And this is also including the growth of Nick Sirianni as a play caller and a head coach. He was still able to handle the adversity that he had earlier, like the first half through the season, in which the team looked as discombobulated as they are. They don't know what their identity is, and he was able to turn that around. But maybe in a case it was, you could argue that in a case it was too little too late, and we could have been a little more competitive in the division and put some of the other teams away that were suffering from injury or were just incompetent. I think we could have had better positioning or better confidence, for that matter, to go on a higher note into the playoffs. But I'll be a little more generous. I'll say a C plus. And that considers everything. It considers the head coach / play caller. It considers the quarterback. It considers the level of talent around him, knowing that we still need some playmakers on the offensive side of the football. But we do have a blueprint going into 2022, and I think that's most important.
Nice. Well, let's go ahead and do the next one. Jump over to that defensive side. What are you grading the defense this year? For as good as the defense was at times statistically, on the surface it looked terrible, but Gannon was still able to make them average in terms of points allowed. Like, they stayed around the 10 to 15-ish rank. So they were either a little bit above average or they were average. And of course, that's also a testament to the level of competition that they played later in the year. But all in all, minus the playmakers that were doing their job, the defense it wasn't it. It wasn't it. I mean, for everything that we watched and the lack of blitzes, the lack of conviction or taking chances, defensively as a whole, I would have to agree with Richie a little bit here. Right.
D plus to C minus. It's just, and I would go more along the lines of D plus, because it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough as a whole. There was too many weaknesses. There was too many weaknesses to blanket the strengths, if I could put it in that
Yeah,
sense.
I get it. So basically, your overall Eagle grade for the year is a C.
Yeah,
You
I
got
would say
C
about a
plus, C minus.
C to C plus.
Yeah,
They did exceed expectations by some. I don't want to say they exceeded mine because um, I did have them as a second place finisher in the division behind Dallas. And depending on the competition of the NFC, I had them either just missing the playoffs or getting a wild card spot because my over under record wise was set to 8 games. So they did what I thought they were going to do with what they had because I did know that there was some confidence in areas that they needed it. But overall, the team is what it is, and it's just, you just gotta cut it right. You gotta cut it right down the middle. So I'll give them a C plus, only being that they have a lot of holes to fill and a quarterback position to figure out in a sense to a lot of people, but I
right.
know who the quarterback is going to be.
Yeah, man. It's true that, man. He got to stay. He definitely got to stay. So Gannon gets a C minus.
No,
Yeah, man. I think that's a good grade, man. Like in terms of they did better than what we expected them to do. Like you said, what'd you say that you had them? What was their ceiling for you this year going into the season?
I had their over under set to 8 games. So best case scenario, I had them going 10-7. Worst case, I had them going either 7-10 or 6-11.
Yeah.
So,
and I was drinking the Kool-Aid, so I had high. I first started with 11-6. I drank the Kool-Aid, and I was like 13-4. And then
that's
I was like, but
that's still okay though.
I always said the floor was 10-7. And really, if you pick 10-7, you should kind of get it right because we got to buy. No one expected us not to have to play that last football game. So that one,
Yeah,
I don't really count as a loss
no.
or a win. So it's almost like we picked it right. So
Yeah.
that's good, man.
And it's still okay to want to have a record of like 13-4 or 12-5 like Dallas did. It's okay to have that extra confidence in your team because all you want to do is see them succeed. But I mean, what happened this year? It happened, but
And we could have
they still made progress.
Like we beat ourselves in a lot of those games. We could have actually had that record.
Yeah.
We could have led the defense. The lead this year, the NFC, and had the first round bye. And we didn't beat ourselves in like 4 of those games. You had 4 more wins. So what's that? 13-4.
Yeah.
We could be sitting right there. We could have been fighting for the home first round bye, and we didn't beat ourselves. But it didn't happen that way. It is what it is. He said special teams. Elliott A minus, Sipples B minus, Hicken punt returner D, coach C minus. Well, that's pretty fair. Simple was getting an A plus into the last 2 games of the season.
I don't know what
happened to him. He just went straight from being the best to the worst. He was garbage. And Elliott definitely.
Give it up to Jake Elliott though.
He redeemed himself.
Talk about a bounce back season for him. Yeah. That's unbelievable.
Definitely should be comeback player of the year. Jake Elliott get comeback player of the year. He was trash, and then next thing you know, he said Sipples was hurt. Was he?
What? I didn't think so.
That.
He never popped up on the injury report, so I can't imagine. Well, then
a lot of
then again, Jalen Hurts necessarily didn't, but
Facts. It's possible.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but it was a good year basically. Like I said, everybody should be happy with what we got this year. Everybody should definitely be in a positive mode going into next year, knowing the cap space we got, the draft picks we got. That's just telling you that we're going to be a lot better next year. Howie would have to be really high to mess this up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got a good base, Howie. You got 3 first-round picks, and I think we had, 5 in the top 60 or something like that, 5 or 6 in the top 60 picks. So that's a lot of good football players you can bring to the squad in the draft, and we got the money to pay them and get some guys in free agency. So the sky's the limit for the Eagles next year. Who knows how we're going to end up doing. I think we're definitely going to have more wins next year than we did this year. So, and that would be a plus, We already made 9 wins with all the shambles and all the work needs to be done. We had a 9-win football team, guys.
Nick, Nick Sirianni was able to do something Joe Judge couldn't, and that's take his team to the playoffs. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And Joe Judge lost his job. I mean, I don't know how you can sugarcoat it anymore.
Shout out to you guys.
Come on.
Please subscribe to my guy, Lindy Enzo, man. He took a break for a while. He's back at it. He's back at it hard, man. Doing a great job. Great Eagles content creator. Go ahead and let everybody know about your channel a little bit before we get into this all-time Eagles team, my guy.
Yeah, well, I think I'll be close to coming up on a year that I've been doing this. It was a very slow start, but I got into a comfort zone, and yeah, while I've been on and off on the channel, a lot of things have been happening outside of it externally, and going from an apartment to a house, and a lot of other things positively are coming my way. But it is what it is, and my channel did suffer because I do also do Dallas Mavericks content. Yeah, what a type of fandom I have. I like a Dallas basketball team, but I'm an Eagles fan. I know I get crap.
I like the Pacers.
Yeah. What's that? Oh, okay. All right. Well, we would like Miles Turner, by the way. I would
like a lot of players. Anybody. At least you guys get stars in Dallas, goddamn. You guys go to the playoffs.
Yeah, well, we do.
We don't get nobody in Indiana.
Well, I mean, you guys did take a star in Rick Carlisle. Oh,
woo!
Yeah. Oh,
anyway,
man.
all the old Pacer coaches go to other teams to win championships. Like, hey, why couldn't you do that here? Do you know why? Because you didn't have that many star players on your team.
Yeah, well,
that fight, man. That fight really messed up our team.
Yeah, I hate to say, but I feel that the Mavericks are in a very similar position to the 76ers for the Sixers fans in the chat, where, man, the Sixers are in desperate need to get Joel Embiid some help. Well, I don't know what help Luka exactly has outside of when Porzingis is playing or Jalen Brunson. And Jalen Brunson's looking for a contract extension, like 4 years, $80 million. Yeah, they brought in Marquise Chris, and he got himself signed for the rest of the year, and I mean, the roster's just still not good enough. Maxi Kleber, Dwight Powell, Hardaway Jr. just got extended, and he's okay. Finney Smith, like there are a lot of role players that don't play to the level that they're supposed to enough in that regard. But it is what it is, but I still love my team either way.
Facts. I love my team too. I just don't watch it to the end of the season. If they're close to making the playoffs, I'll start watching, to see if they make it in there.
Oh. The last thing you need to do is blow it up and lose Miles and Sabonis. Good Lord.
Don't be teasing the players we have on our team, man.
Oh, man.
They were talking about a trade to get what's that dude name? From the Sixers, they said they wanted Ben Simon. They said they wanted to get our point guard. What's the name?
Who, Ben Simmons?
Yeah, the Pacers was going to get him, and we were going to give him our point guard, Bolinali or whatever his name is.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
Never happened, so it is what it is. I'm going to wait until the day that someone actually wants to go to the Pacers, small market town. Their best basketball comes from their college team.
Hey, I mean, Reggie Miller played there. Jermaine O'Neal played there. Larry Bird used to coach there. They got something. They got some sort of history. Well, then again, Malice at the Palace kind of taints that, but
it changed everything. Our team has sucked since then. We haven't got nobody new. Nobody wants to play there. Reggie Miller didn't get his ring. It's been horrible since then, man.
Oh,
horrible. I mean, so mad, man. So mad. But hey, one day, it won't be about the big life in the big city.
Yeah.
The players will want to play in a small market just to be original and new and bring a new franchise up. So we'll wait till that time comes. It'll happen again. But,
well, at least the Colts brought you some fans. They need
Yeah.
they need something to cheer for now.
Right. The Colts did bring a nice fan base there. A nice fan base. They're like, I want to move there. Like, no, you don't. I'm like, okay. I don't.
Oh,
But like man, we're a little over an hour, about an hour 35 in. We're gonna go ahead and get our started on this this all-time Eagles team, my guy. And hell, you might be the last one before I make my all-time list here of all content creators, all-time Eagles team. So, these are just players you watched growing up, and since you've been an Eagles fan, just your favorite players. Don't worry about the stats. Don't worry about the chat, because the chat's going to throw their players in there. You just worry about your guys. We'll start out with the quarterback spot. Who will be your all-time favorite quarterback starting, and who will be backing them up?
ooh. Now, it would be who I watched. So, being that I haven't hit 30 yet, I'm still on the young side. Man, I'm torn between Vic and Donovan, but I would probably want Donovan there, just because of the longevity that he had, and that was his team, that picked him up over Michael, even though Vic did have a great improvement in terms of being a better passer, and with him getting older. So I would have to put Donovan in there.
And
If I was a little older, I'd probably say Randall. I'd probably say Cunningham if I was a little older, but I'll go with Donovan.
And then who's going to back him up, Vic?
That's a tough one. Man, good. Oh, there's going to be bombs going off if I say Carson backing him up. But before Carson got here, I was a big fan of Nick Foles when he got drafted 2012, 2013, and coming out of the same school as Drew Brees, I think he had a lot of potential coming into the season. So yeah, there you go.
I got the black Foles jersey.
I got the midnight green myself. Yep.
Nice.
And by the way, this is Jeremy Maclin. It's not Jalen Reagor.
Yeah, right.
So I don't get blown up.
The Reagor jersey. He loves Reagor.
Get rid of your channel. Who are you to support this man? No, that's Jeremy Maclin.
So who'd you pick? You said you wanted to you gonna pick Carson Wentz?
Backing McNabb up? No, I would want Foles.
Foles?
I would rather Foles, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Give me 3 running backs.
3 running backs. Whew. You obviously have to put B West in there. That's easy. You got to put B West. You got to put him. You got to put Shady McCoy. How about a dynamic duo with those two? two of the best to do it in an Eagles uniform. And after them two, I'm not sure because the only other two that I can say, of course. I wish I could say Miles Sanders, but he's too young, obviously. And, I wish I could say DeMarco Murray, but we got him when he was banged up from Dallas. But he still had something left in the tank, I think, and he just wasn't used right in Chip Kelly's system because he had a power back going east and west instead of north and south, and it drove me nuts that entire year. I was so damn irritated. But for a change of pace type of back, I think I'd be okay with DeMarco Murray at 3.
Murray at 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would go. I don't know because B West and Shady are very similar in their play styles, but
what about Darren Sproles?
Mighty Mouse. That's also possible, but I mean when they say too much of the same thing is never a good thing. I don't know. Him
LeGarrette
along with
Blount.
Shady and West. You would need a power back if you put B West and Shady in that group. So I don't know.
What
I
about
mean,
Deuce? Since you're in that group, might as well throw Deuce in there.
Deuce Staley, I'm okay with that too. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we'll do Deuce, B West, and Shady. Yeah,
What about give me 2 tight ends?
2 tight ends. I don't know. My two top favorites for me are Brent Selleck and Zach Ertz. Man, I'm sorry.
You can't lose with
I
that
know
one.
Zach isn't
That's a
here
good one too.
anymore, but
I
if
like
you
Chad
put,
Lewis.
huh?
I like the Chad Lewis too.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
LJ
just
Smith
think
was all right for a couple of years.
sure. Yeah, of course he was. I just think you'd be in. I just think defenses would be in hell of a trouble if you put Ertz and Selleck in their primes on the field at the same time. That'd be a pretty that'd be a pretty nasty personnel setup right there.
Yes, it would, man. Yes, it
I
would.
love them all.
Give me
Yeah,
4 receivers. Keith
four
Jackson too. I
receivers.
love Keith Jackson.
Ooh,
Go
here we
ahead, 4
go.
receivers.
Here we go. I gotta put my guys D Jackson, Jeremy Maclin in there. I loved them too. Loved them too. I was I was so irritated that Chip Kelly got rid of them both. He didn't want to pay Maclin, and he wanted D Jax gone. Not fantastic receivers. Um, To To for the time that he was here. I mean, he had time with McNabb. Got to put To in there.
Facts.
Man, I am blanking on a fourth one. Who would I want as a fourth? Hmm.
You can put guys like hard worker, guys like Jason Avant. You can go guys
What?
like
How did I forget about Avant? Man,
Dante Stallsworth had a good year with us.
I watch
Kevin
the Q&A show at
Curtis.
least weekly, man. Almost every week I watch the Q&A show. How did I forget about
Q&A.
Avant? Man, yeah, I got to put that man in there. He's always, yeah. Avant was always reliable. One of
He did
the
the
best
dirty
hands
work.
when he played.
He always doing the dirty work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Grant always likes me to get a fullback. Give me a fullback.
Fullback is. I would think I would hate to have to say fullback is the position I'm least familiar with in terms of Eagles lore. So can't
But those
think
are
of
3
it.
good ones there that we had. And don't forget we had Weaver from Seattle during your time.
Okay. Yeah. Keith Byers, Sherman, Ritchie. Yeah, John Ritchie. That's right. Yep. Another one I forgot about. Yeah, he's okay. Yep. Yeah. Man, I'm blanking today.
You gonna put Richie in there?
Yeah, I'm cool with him. I'm cool with John Ritchie in there.
All right. Now who will be on the starting offensive line? You don't have to get backups in there. You just need a full starting offensive line. And even you can mix and match if you need to. You know, if you got a guy that played, like I know some people that had like Trey Thomas and Runyon, but then they added JPP at guard because he played guard. So if you got, you can do stuff like that if you need to. But who's gonna be on that line?
Yeah. Well.
Kevin Turner, yeah, that was a good one too.
Yeah. Well, I can't go wrong with Jason Kelsey at center, man.
Right?
You can't go wrong with Kelsey at center. Best center at football. Still doing it. Still doing it to this day. Unbelievable. What was it? Todd Harrimans was good for what he was. Harrimans was good. Can't forget about Trey Thomas. Who was it? Who was it? Not what was it? Vincent Jackson. That wasn't bad. I forget his name.
Jamal Jackson.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I miss the Tales from the Blind Side show that ITB's got. Them three did an awesome job. Who else could I put in there? I don't know. I don't know about Jason Peters. I mean, Peters was no. I am sure about Jason Peters. He wasn't called. He wasn't called the bodyguard for no reason, man.
Right? Like
Peters was
you
good in
always
this
gotta
thing.
say Jason Peters in his prime. Like
Yeah,
because everybody got that stale Jason Peters thought in their head. They're like, I forget Jason. But Jason played a lot of good football for us.
yeah, he did. He definitely did.
So you
Yeah,
got
he
Jason
definitely did.
Peters, Trey Thomas, Jason Kelsey, Todd Hermans, and Jamal Jackson.
That's right. Yeah.
That's a nice line. I like
Runyon
it.
was good. Mayberry. Yeah. That's the thing though. Eagles have had so many good offensive linemen.
Evan
You almost can't
Mathis
go
was a
wrong.
beast. Evan Mathis played some good football here.
Yeah, Matt. Yeah. They're that's the best part. We've had such great depth at the offensive line. You can't really go wrong. You can't.
Well, we're gonna do defense now. It's a 4-3 base, so I need 4 defensive linemen. And this is kind of easy but hard at the same time. Which ones you gonna put on that D line?
BG, I love Brandon Graham. I know that. I would love to see a dynamic of, well, I have to put him here, and I will only change up my setup just because I picked this little guy up. I had to have him. Gotta put Reggie White on that front.
Reggie White, yes, sir.
So I wouldn't mind seeing BG in there just because of my time. Fletch with the combination of Reggie White would be pretty darn nasty, I would have to say. For as much as Fletcher Cox seems overrated, he had some damn good years. And yeah, Trent Cole's another good one to me.
Oh yeah, Trent was a beast. I love Trent Cole. Hugh Douglas too. Yep, I love Hugh. Clyde Simmons. I think he was a linebacker though. That's a nice list too, man. I like it. Corey Simon. That's old school. What about 3 linebackers? And
wow. Trying to think of that one because I can only go. Man, I can only really go as far as not too long
there's an
ago.
outside linebacker.
That's a tricky one. That's a tricky one to me. But yeah, that's a tricky one to me. What was his name?
The X-Man.
What was it? Jeremiah Trotter?
Yes.
Yeah.
You gotta get Trotter on there.
Trotter, yeah. I remember
Last real
Trotter.
linebacker we've had on our team.
Yeah. Joyner was good. Obviously we can't put Jordan Hicks in there. I was almost going to say Michael Kendricks, but I wasn't exactly sure. But he was great for when.
What about
we
Nigel
had
Bradham?
when we had him.
We won a Super Bowl with Bradham. Stuart Bradley plays some good football.
I don't know if Nigel Bradham stacks up to. I don't know if he stacks up to these other great names though. I mean, Bradham was good for what he was. I think he was a free agent pickup anyway. Yeah. Bradham was okay, but his skill wise, he didn't sustain it. So I don't know. I don't know about Bradham, but yeah, Jeremiah Trotter definitely. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, well, we can go Seth Joyner on that one. And yeah, how did I forget about Michael Kendricks? I still miss him. I still miss Michael Kendricks to this
Ryans
day.
Too.
D'Amico Ryans. Yeah.
He got hurt too a lot.
Yep. Byron Evans ain't bad. That's not a bad one.
So Joyner, Trotter, and who's the third one?
I would be okay with Michael Kendricks.
Michael Kendricks.
I still even wanted the Eagles to sign him. I think a couple of years ago. I still wanted him back, but I think he had those like
legal issues.
Yeah, it's a shame.
And Sunday
Him
he
and his
was
brother
never
are
as good as
great.
his younger brother.
Yeah.
His younger brother's a beast.
Both
He
him
was
and his
just
brother
good.
are great.
He was good. The brother is great.
Yep.
Let's go with cornerback. Give me 3 cornerbacks.
Corners. I gotta have Eric Allen. That's an
Okay.
easy one. I gotta have Eric. Who's the other corner that I had off the top of my head that I can't remember? It was always Eric Allen and somebody else that I definitely wanted, and I can't think of them. Damn it.
There's a lot of good Eagle cornerbacks.
Yeah. Well, yes. Thank you, Troy Vincent. Yep. Troy Vincent, Asante Samuel. Yeah, I'm. Yep. Definitely. I'm.
Ooh, Allen and
How did I forget
Samuel,
about
Vincent.
Asante? Damn, his son's in the friggin' league. Come on. Yeah. Yep. I knew I definitely wanted Eric Allen, but yep. I completely blew Troy Vincent. I should have remembered Troy Vincent. Yep. Those are definitely my 3. Eric Allen, Troy Vincent, and Asante Samuel. Absolute lockdown. You're not getting anything on them 3 at all. Nope. Then safety, to round out safety,
You need 3 safeties.
3 safeties. Okay. Well, I can give you 2 right off the bat. I can give you Weapon X and Malcolm Jenkins. Them 2 would be nasty together since they both have an awesome physicality skill set. And yeah, Waters was nice too. Yep. Yeah. We're in agreement in there. We're in an agreement right there, Philly fan D. Yep.
Did you like?
He's knocking Malcolm Jenkins, no question. But yeah, Waters was nice.
Did you like Lewis?
Lewis was okay. Yeah, I did like him too.
Lewis. I think he's underrated, like safety that we had. You know that he played some good football for us, like Michael Lewis.
Yeah.
And then who else? Any other guy from Q&A?
I can't. Yep. I was just gonna say I can't put any hate on my guy Quentin Michael either. The 27 before Malcolm Jenkins, can't put any hate on him either.
Right.
Yeah. Who's
gonna be your kicker?
Who other than Mr. Automatic himself, David Akers?
Your punter?
My punter, if I remember correctly, Donnie Jones had quite the career. He had some pretty good years for Philly when I watched them. So
Donnie Jones was good.
Donnie Jones was a pretty.
It's hard to say like for me like who was better. It was Donnie Jones or that other the other punter. Let me see, like Johnston or something like that.
Cameron Johnston. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was okay. Yeah, Cameron was okay too.
Who would be your kickoff return specialist?
I still don't remember why we got rid of Cam Johnston. I don't remember.
I never get why we get rid of any of the kickers and stuff. Unless they suck. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, who do you have on his list? He said Donnie Jones, Mac, Rungar. I didn't know who that Max guy is.
Alan Rossum, Brian Mitchell. Yep. Yeah. Well, Mighty Mouse.
So who's going to be your return agent? That's a nice list right there. Who do you pick out of that?
Yeah.
Well, I guess since you already had D-Jax on receiver, you know, you could probably go Sproles, Mitchell.
I didn't put Mighty Mouse at running back, so yeah. Yep.
Yeah, but Sproles there?
You still got Sproles as punt returner, and then I'd probably be okay with Mitchell at kick return.
Nice. Who's gonna be your defensive coordinator?
D coordinator would have to be oh good lord, not definitely not Jim Schwartz or Jonathan Gannon. No way in hell. I'd be.
And Grant, we know Hopkins played good, but no one can be better than Akers, my guy.
No.
Akers is our all-time Eagles kicker.
Mister. Why do you think he's called Mister Automatic? dude's ridiculous. Like for him to be as beloved as he is for being a kicker in Eagles fandom, it's insane. I loved what he did at the 2018 draft and in destroying the Cowboys fans. I loved it. How else? What? Why am I blanking on the D coordinator's name right now? 90s. The good D coordinator. Who was it?
The only one you really can't get, Jim Johnson.
Yes. Yeah. Jim Johnson would definitely be my DC. Yeah. Jeff Fisher was okay too, but didn't he flame out? Didn't he flame out as a head coach for the Rams? Is that the same? That's the same Jeff Fisher, isn't it? Who flamed out as a head coach, didn't end up working.
Yeah.
Jake Elliott will get his love.
Yeah, he'll get his love. He's not over Akers though. Not yet.
No.
If Jake could continue to kick it the way he is for another 6 years.
He's got a long way to go. Jake Elliott's got a long way to go. Yeah. I don't think he's sniffing Akers cleats yet.
Oh, Hopkins was a safety.
Free safety? Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, now I know. Oh yeah. Yeah, he's old school. Yeah, that's facts. He was good. Who's your offensive coordinator?
If I remember correctly, even in terms of offensive coordinator, Andy Reid was the play caller. I wouldn't mind Andy Reid, and Peterson was good for a while with him being the play caller alongside Frank Reich as the OC. Dick Vermeil was nice though. Dick Vermeil was pretty nice. I don't know. That's an interesting one, actually. Offensive coordinator. That's an interesting one.
You can even use Chip Kelly as your offensive coordinator.
Do we really want to exhaust our offense again with that no huddle?
Hey, good
Lord, what a mess that was.
We've been more in shape football team after that.
That's true. I don't know because he completely bombed that football team. Who knows? You make him OC, he's gonna want personnel decisions next. That's not. He'll put Howie. Well, I don't think people would be opposed to him putting Howie in the closet again. But yeah, no, no, I can't have Chip Kelly as an OC, man. No, that'd be crazy. But no,
Carson was the best defensive coordinator. So
Bud Carson, best D coordinator.
So who'd you say your offensive coordinator was going to be?
I don't know. I think I'd be okay with Dick Vermeil. I'd be okay with him.
And then head coach.
I do love old Big Red.
Right?
Andy Reid was.
Some people be picking Dougie P though because he won the championship and Andy never did.
Who's that?
So some people be picking Dougie P because he actually won and Andy never won.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. That's a tough one because that's
Robert. They're gonna probably be
tough
the same
one because
every year. They're not gonna win nothing.
There's things that go for Doug and go against him, and they almost cancel each other out because it's like, yeah, Peterson had a shorter tenure than Reid. But, Reid was able to build something a little more over time in multiple NFC championship games and stuff like that. But he was never able to, to get the bag and whatnot. I'm not sure. I mean, something does tell me in the back of my mind that I don't think Peterson was done entirely as a head coach. But I don't know. That's a tough one to me. I think Peterson. I think
Rich says
Peterson with. I
Peterson
think
always number
WP.
one.
I'll say this. I'll say
Man,
this.
we got some Petersons in here.
I'll say
Peterson,
this.
Buddy Ryan,
I
Reed.
think. I think Doug Peterson with a talented team like I'm constructing would definitely have more than one Super Bowl. But you can't say that for Andy Reid. You can say that for other
Hell
previous
yeah,
head
you
coaches,
can.
Eagles
You say
or
that for
but
any Eagles coach with the
yeah,
roster
you,
you just
you can
put
say that
together.
for any Eagles coach. But for what Doug was able to do with the team that we had, even after losing Carson and having Foles as his backup, and still keeping them together, um, keeping them together afterward. I don't know. That means something a little bit more. So I'll go on a limb and say Dougie P. Just for
Oh,
just for
Dougie
the
P gets
just
another
for
one.
the sense of experimentation. I would love to see Peterson with better talent. So for this scenario, I'll go Dougie P.
Dougie P gets another one. I don't know anybody out pick Big Red. I love him. I think
Yeah.
just for so long, and he didn't win the
Yeah.
big one. That's a huge part of it. I know. I understand. We only got one Super Bowl, so that's really what people put Dougie P. But Dougie P was only here for a short period of time, and
Yeah.
like he won a
Yeah.
Super Bowl, yes, but Andy was a lot of great football. He restored winning ways to the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? Like we went to 5 straight NFC championships in a row. Like that's like a lot of good football. I don't think he was like. I think every year we're over 10 win team too. So
How many years Andy Reid was able to put in where he had a number of better teams constructed than Doug Peterson had overall. I mean, Andy Reid had a lot of rosters better than what Doug was working with, and of you know, but
that
that
Super Bowl
still
year we
worked.
had some talent. We got lucky with some of the late stage players
Yeah,
like
and
Garrett
and I was
Blunt,
gonna say
Ajayi. That
that
was an awesome like 1-2 punch for a year.
that works for Doug though, because Doug with less talent was able to win a Super Bowl. So I mean, it goes both ways. But I was torn between Reed and Dougie P because I do like them both.
I understand he was here 5 years, but yeah, how long was Andy here for? Like 14?
Yeah, no, the sign said 14,
Yeah, 14. That's a huge difference.
more than 3 times the tenure,
Yeah,
or almost 3 times the tenure. That's
yeah.
crazy.
But yeah,
Jim
I
Johnson,
really
yeah,
like you said. And at the end of the day, that part is like probably, you probably get more weight on a championship than you do on the tenure. Just for somebody, we waited so long to see one, and we finally
yeah.
got one with Dougie P. So I can see why people pick him. I just always get shocked. You always expect people to say Andy Reid off the jump, Big Red, Big Red, Big
Yeah.
Red.
But it does, but at the same time, it does take a certain coach to deal with certain types of players, and that's where you also ask the question: is Reed and is Big Red and Peterson those type of coaches to be able to deal with those kind of players? And I I think they are. I think they are. Peterson did what he was. Peterson was capable of doing what he was able to do for a shorter period of time, and same thing for Andy Reid.
He said Ray Rose players helped the young Andy Reid. And they drafted Donovan McNabb that year too, so
Yeah,
he came
yeah,
in with a quarterback and he worked on them. So yeah, I get it. I get it both ways. I like them both. You know, I'm old school, so I probably go Andy always over Dougie P.
yeah,
And just wait Dougie P flamed out so fast. You know what I'm saying? Like his offense got worse. I feel like he won too early. Dougie P would have been good if he would like took it to the playoff a couple years in a row and won. Like he'd probably still be here. If he would have won some playoff, took a playoff. Even though we won the Super Bowl, I'm not giving up that Super Bowl. But if he had like more coaching experience first before he actually won it, It was his second year. He came here and won a Super Bowl. Then he started writing books. Started thinking he was the man. He let Frank Wright get out of the building. You know, he just started letting these people go and thinking it's all you, it's all you, it's all you. And then every year after that, our offense got worse and worse and worse till
Good
last
Lord.
year.
Good Lord. Imagine the same thing happening to Sirianni.
Right? We go to the playoffs this year.
Oh,
and starting
man.
next year, our offense just goes
Wow.
do.
No, but I mean that wasn't just Peterson either. Like almost almost everybody in the front office kind of had big heads, and you know they took it and ran with it. They all had big heads when they won the Super Bowl. I mean, who isn't going to? But
Facts.
again, when we go into 2019 and everything, and we have former players talking about, well, you know, they couldn't handle success, and well, I mean, they weren't wrong in a sense, but you know, I don't know.
Problem was being too cute on the offense. At expense of consistency. Hashtag times yours. Yeah. I don't know. And he threw too much sometime too. That was a problem a little bit. You know, like all these guys from Andy Reid Tree, they all even Dougie P, they like to throw the ball a lot. You know? They think that's what makes you as a good coach. You gotta be able to air it out all the time.
Enter Carson Wentz.
I like to smash mouth football from time to time, you know? You can win a Super Bowl running the ball. You know, it's been done before. You know, the Baltimore, then they went 2 or 1 at least with Trent Dilfer. No, 2, because they won with Dilfer and then they won 1 with Flacco.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's running the ball.
That magical. Well, what year was it for Flacco? 2010, 2011?
And then it was the last year for Flacco. I mean, the last year for Ray Lewis, right, was the Flacco one. And then the first couple of years for Ray Lewis was the Dilfer one.
Yep.
Yeah, so it can be done. I know it's not as, you know, exciting or whatever, but if you got an exciting running back, you can make it exciting. Like, imagine if the Titans win the Super Bowl this year because Derrick Henry's back. And you just watch Derrick Henry run up and down every single team to the Super Bowl, you know? That's awesome.
That's not fair, man.
He's
not
monster.
Fair.
Like, he's a cheat code.
We thought Tyreek Hill wasn't fair with his speed. What the hell are you supposed to do with King Henry? Like, good Lord.
Do you agree? He's like the best running back in the league is Henry, and then the next guy is like down here before he starts talent wise. We got some good backs in the league, but Henry's like on a plane on his own. And watch out for Najee Harris from Alabama too. Another one.
Yeah.
That was a rookie. And he was 5th in rushing this year. He's a beast.
It wasn't too long ago when we were talking about Dalvin Cook and Nick Chubb and all these other guys, and then, you know, Derrick Henry just continues to step his game up to another level, and he pretty much just camouflages them, and they're forgotten about. But
yeah, man,
crazy.
Derrick Henry's that dude. I'm excited to see him back in the playoff. I want to see what he does this week. Definitely put him in my fantasy lineup for sure. So, but hey, man. Go ahead and let everybody know one more time where they can find you at. Thank you again, Lindy, for coming on the stream, man. It's been good, man. We went a whole 2 hours. Usually we go an hour and a half. But this stream, we went a whole 2 hours. So it's good. It was good stuff going tonight.
Yeah, well.
Whenever you want to work, you want to get me on your channel, hey, I'm more than happy to come over, my guy. We can definitely do some more collabs this off season.
Absolutely. You know, I just appreciate the opportunity to get to continue to know others in the Eagles content creator community. Because I mean, as I say in my videos, at the end of the day, we're bird brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, just for liking the same football team, because that's the way it works. And you know, we bleed green, ride or die, fly Eagles fly. That's
and we got some good people on the network. My guy, you can always join that too if you ever want to. The door's always open. The door's always open. You know what I'm saying? We always looking for good talent on the network. So let me know. Let everybody know where they can find you at, and we can get up out here.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll have to give that more thought. But no, man, you know, obviously y'all know where to find me in terms of my channel in the end zone. Name doesn't change, won't change. Twitter is the same thing. And, you know, if you like the diversity of fandom that I bring to the table, I know. But love to have you all part of the End Zone fam. And, you know, but that's pretty much it. I keep it as simple. You know, I keep it as simple, logical, and, you know, common sensual as I possibly can. You know, I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything or be biased, but, you know, you just, like I said, you just gotta cut it right down the middle sometimes. And, you know, I just appreciate others that listen to my opinions at the end of the day, because you know,
Right?
because that's what they are. You know.
Yep. And if you like them, you like them. You don't, you don't. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Simple as that. Simple as that. But you
But
do
hey,
got to be
y'all,
nice.
thank you guys again. Shout out to all you guys in the chat, man. Please hit that like on the way out. Also, I will be doing it. I just figured out how to get my PS5 streaming on my YouTube channel. So we're going to be playing some Madden tonight if you guys want to check it out. You know, I just got the new Madden game, so I'm not going to be the best yet. Yeah, give me a couple of games to warm it up. You know, but, you know, I'll be dropping some nice Madden content on there for you guys. So if you guys like Madden, you know, I'm gonna have it up there. You guys can go ahead and go in the chat if you got PS5. If you play Madden, go ahead and leave your little gamer tag in there, and I'll make sure I put the gamer tag inside the descriptions. And we can play some Madden whenever you guys want to. So, you know, that's something new we're adding to the channel too. So hey, check it out. And I'll, like I always say at the end of my videos, fly Eagles fly.
Yes,
Till
sir.
next
That's right.
time, this is BG31, Lindy End Zone. We out. Peace.